Two teams that are placed very close together in the league tables of the main World Team Championships. Mauritius just one place ahead of France on 5 wins to France's 4. Really not much to choose between them based on paper, based on reputation. Perhaps slightly more depth in the France squad. Exciting chance for all of the players, and of course especially for the ones that have travelled a long way. When you look at the logistics of what Mauritius have had to go through to get to this tournament, hard not to root for them to do well while they're here. It is going to be a good chance to get the accounts opened. The first frame obviously very important. We saw in the England match that kind of set the tone for the whole match. Surprise failure to capitalise from a mistake from Malta. England ended up on the back foot and never really regained it. France have got a good chance here to get the first frame on the board. They can do that if they miss balls like that.
Yeah, it's absolutely. France did not make any mistakes like that in the match to make it through to this stage. They just flew through. I mean, finish after finish after finish. I mean, it really was the best I've seen anybody play in team form at this championships. And well, we talked about how important the opening frame was in the previous match. Poor miss there from Leo.
When you look at your team already, certain players are good at going out first and like to get the first frame on the board. Some are better maybe when they've had a bit longer to warm up. So the captains will be aware of that when making their choices. Cohesion is so important here. The Maltese team spirit in that last match was fantastic. They just looked so happy to be there. And it just seemed to rub off on the way they were playing. They were playing some very expansive stuff on the table.
It just matters. It matters in team pool. It really does. And that unity, knowing that when you're out there and you've got a tough layout or a tricky shot, everybody is with you. And you know, if it doesn't work out, they're still with you. It's so important.
And that was nice to hear in that interview with the Mauritian player, saying that they like spending time together, they like eating together where they're here. All of that kind of thing is actually important. Good chance on the counter-attack.
Worked these well. Has left a yellow up the table, which could become a problem ball.
You're saying matches getting off to a good start is important, but there's something about this team match where you're only going to get a maximum of 2 frames each, and so much pressure to go out there and do well, because this is your moment in the limelight, and if you don't take it, you're not going to get another one.
Yeah, all the more reason that you need a full team, don't you? You need to really be, because you don't know who's going to get the opportunities as well, so you've just all got to be ready. Interesting decision for me to go up there, and that's not worked. It was going to be easier to connect the one at the top of the table to the 8 ball than the yellow at the bottom of the table. So for me, it was either take it 2 shots ago, or it was leave it last ball. And now he's landed awkward.
The red on the left-hand side cushion's actually playing quite large here, even though it looks like it's way out the way. He wants to try and swing this round 2 cushions. And trying to force inside of that red. He's missing the pot.
Very close, but refuses to fall.
This is how you associate team pool, isn't it? These sort of nervous moments, balls being jawed. It's a great atmosphere. It's a kind of pressure you just can't simulate in any other way. All your teammates looking on, you don't want to let them down. Second of our 4 quarter-finals today, so both of these teams have had a chance to watch the first match. I think it probably is a useful thing to watch the first match as well. It just sort of gets you in the mood. You start understanding the cadence of play, how the format is going to pan out, even if you have played in the event before.
Oh no, 2 chances 2 chances for France have gone, and this is not the team and not the way they started against India. Has the tone been set? Really important for Fardeen here to make sure, get this first frame on the board now. Give Mauritius that start. Interesting, trying to get a little bit further up and left there. Another 6 to 8 inches of roll on that one, and this would have been routine. Now it's slightly iffy, and you might have to just go dead weight here, which is not ideal. Every chance to decelerate on this shot. Oh, it looks like he might be loading up to stop that happening.
Don't know about that one. Loading that up with right hand side made that pot a lot harder. I agree with you, you don't want to get too tentative and decelerate, but that was a tough way of playing it. This is a great chance now for a counter-attack.
Yeah.
Been at the table a couple of times. Needs to make the opportunities count.
Not sure that Leo Ostroka could actually believe he's going to get 3 chances in this frame, but that's what he's got. You're hoping for 1. To get 3.
You have to guard against complacency. How often do you see that in matches where you start getting chances thrown at you and you end up not taking them because in your head you're just thinking, oh, I'll probably get another chance. Of course, eventually you run out of them. Yeah, I mean, getting 1 chance is quite a thing. We watched a couple of people in that last match just go out into the arena, put their cue next to their chair, and their opponent broke and clear up. It's a tough format. Not too much to do here. It's not always that easy controlling a ball when it's right in the jaws of the pocket, but it's got a big margin for error.
It's not the best of shots. Comfort in the fact that yellow's gone safe, so not as pressured an 8-ball as it could be, but also it should be an absolute tap-in into the right centre.
Bit careless in truth, that one. Could have just rolled the ball in and had a guaranteed position to the right centre. He's made this harder than he needed to.
See, I can't stress how different this is. Maybe it's the fact that we've reached the TV stages. Maybe it's the quarterfinals, or maybe it's just natural pull, but Leo really struggling out there.
He's played the correct and conventional safety shot there. Just needs to get the cue ball over to the left-hand side of the table. In a dream world, you would want to leave the yellow very close to a pocket to make it harder to play the counter safety. Couldn't afford to get too cute with that and risk not getting the white in the right place.
Tricky shot. There is room to play with here. He just caught it a touch thin, so he does leave the double.
Can play it as a shot to nothing if he wants to. Screw the cue ball back somewhere towards the centre of the table to make sure he doesn't leave a shot on the 8-ball.
Problem with that is if you make it.
And does he want to be thinking in those terms? Sometimes you've just got to commit to the pot.
I like just going here. You don't really deserve to have this many chances. Just go and hurt France, and he's done that. Fardeen Sorelli with the simple 8-ball then to win a very intriguing opening frame.
It's a frame that's going to hurt France. It's not like it was a clearance in the break where they didn't have a chance. They won multiple times there. I wouldn't be able to believe they didn't get that chance put away. See what it means to the Mauritians.
Yeah, we were talking in the studio at the start of the show about not really being able to play your best game out there, not being able to play your best level. I think we saw that in the previous match as well. You know, we're talking about phenomenal pool players struggling, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the level you play at, it just matters whether you can hold the nerve to win the frames. And, well, a little bit of a let-off from Mauritius, but they have got that opening frame, and that's all that really matters. They can build on it.
Yeah, the scoreboard doesn't say how you got it. It doesn't say you needed 5 chances to get over the line.
Exactly. Mauritius will send out Simon Jaffou, Simon Pellissier for France. Try and, well, forget what's gone and try and rediscover the form they showed against India. Need a ball to do that though. Need a ball. And it does drop. It does drop. Last ball rolling. And Simon has the chance. And it's okay. It's not bad.
Any form of ball, you really care about passing a ball off the break, but don't you ever in this format, because if you don't get a ball, there's no guarantee of having another shot.
Interesting choice of first ball. I kind of thought that might be his penultimate ball and then leave the one next to the 8 ball to then play onto the 8 ball. Essentially get back to where he was there in 4 shots time. He could have potted the one to bottom left. It was a touch thin, but I think that was manageable. So now he's going to take this and he's fairly straight, so use the one right centre to come down the table, so you need to leave a good angle to get back up for the 8 ball. Well, he's not going. I'm also surprised by that, but you have to say, balance of everything, that's a really good decision.
Yeah, I think the fact that it was such a guaranteed snooker, you could promote the yellow. Maybe that yellow was slightly tighter than it looked. I think that is a good percentage decision, isn't it? Because if you look at where the balls are spread around the table, easy to hit a red here, but hard not to leave some kind of shot at a yellow. How do you like this for your first outing in the team shootout? Awkward snooker. It's come up a long way short. But they hit a cushion after contact, so it was no good even if it had rolled into the ones at the bottom of the table. So I was trying to play the ones at the top that slipped past.
And now that he's got cue ball in hand, the decision making from Simon there was phenomenal, because I think he knew exactly what he was. It wasn't as though he potted the first ball to then see what he had. He was exactly what he did was absolutely what he was trying to do, and now he has the perfect layout with a very good ball for the 8 ball.
And it's hard sometimes to have that presence of mind. It's easy for us sitting here watching it, but when you're out in the cauldron of battle, and I think a lot of people end up rushing. If you're not used to that 30-second shot clock, you can sometimes get in your head that you've got less time than you actually have. Simon looking very composed so far. He's made a good decision. He's going about these in a sensible, measured way. So to draw the cue ball back just above the centre line in the middle of the table and give himself access to the ball to the right centre.
Yeah, anywhere up near straight works. And that will absolutely do. That is ball in hand perfect. Simon's only going at just over 50% in the team championships, but he's 3 balls away from playing a perfect frame of ball.
Perfect not just in result, but he's just gone about it in exactly the right way. This is a textbook example of how to play a one-frame pool shootout. Everyone loves getting a break and clearance, but if you're not certain you're going to make it, just make it easy for yourself. He's played in a very straightforward way, hasn't he? He's just been playing stop shots, gentle screw shots, hasn't done anything too expansive.
And it is 1-1, France on the board. And you're right, he didn't play a difficult shot in the frame, just very smart ball from Pellissier. And he's got his team going. Needed that.
Yeah, it was the right frame at the right time, because they were 1-0 down. They just needed to win the frame. It didn't matter how they did it. They weren't going to have any trouble geeing themselves up for the match. They just needed to get back into it. So Victorien Labar for France takes his seat. One of the more experienced French players.
Will be Mauritius to break though. See if they can give themselves an opportunity to play a frame as good as the one that Simon's just played. As he elite with the break for Mauritius. Good power. No ball.
Well done by there. Seemed to get pretty good contact on the pack. Not completely dead straight, but got plenty of power into it.
Yellows are out here, but there's no opening yellow. Yellows are lovely. If they're going to break dry, it's not the worst leave. I don't think the red, I don't know if you can squeeze the plant on reds. He's obviously got the straight pot on the reds to start. But it's about the two reds together on the top left. It looks like they're not set. They look like they're a long way off. Also had the one on the right-hand cushion that was awkward. I still like yellows here. Expect Museum to go and get these yellows now.
Yeah, Victor didn't really want to have to take reds, but forced into it because there wasn't a better shot on. And in a way, that was probably going through his mind. It wasn't a particularly difficult shot, he just missed, but he almost didn't want to have to take it on.
Only thing with the yellows, just be careful with the 3 in a line. Just have to play half a shot there just to deal with it.
About as easy as you can really wish for a first visit chance.
He's left himself a poor angle here. Unless the one next to the 8 ball goes bottom left. I think he's eyeing up the 3 ball plan, you know. Drop the one in right centre, he can't get good on the next ball, not without flying the cue ball around the table. So 3 ball plant, although there's big gaps, looks set as in you play the first ball full onto the second ball, and I think it's on.
The thing that you don't love about it is you're not quite sure where the middle ball's going. Does he want to play this dead weight and try and keep the balls over that side, or does he have to put a bit more pace in and trust to luck with where the other ones go?
I think he's so straight on this, if he just screws it back, the middle one might spit away, but I don't expect it to. I expect it to stay where it is. So that, well, as in not the middle one, the one he's playing rather will stay and he'll be on that one. So yeah, the middle one could go a little bit. Oh, he's played that well. He actually had to move it just a little bit more than I thought. It wasn't straight in, but he'll take that outcome.
Yeah, and actually that's turned out better probably than having to get tight position on all of them, which he wasn't guaranteed to do.
Little bit off angle, but if he's straight, he may have a problem. I think he might be just off the wrong way as well. If he's straight, yeah, use the cushion or just drop it in. Oh, he's gone back for it into the corner, so he was absolutely dead straight. With the 8 ball not going into left centre, this is really difficult.
He's finished up taking these quite a difficult way around. I feel like he might have been better taking the ball that he's just taken in the previous shot, the one before.
Yeah, the angle he had, if you dropped it in the centre from where he was, he would have then had the shot he played just to go one cushion and get onto the yellow in such a clean way. It's a good pot, but no position.
To come out with a trick shot now. It was a good pot on that yellow. That wasn't a gimme that he's just potted, but never any guarantee of position. Just slip past the 8 for the same pocket. This is awkward. He's so close to it. It's very hard to change the angle. It's not really pointing in a great direction.
I'm not entirely sure where he's going here. Surely he can't. I mean, he's going to have to hammer this.
Play the table length double.
It's a great effort, but it's not going to fall. And it's not even going to cover the ball, the pocket rather.
Yeah, if you'd have got it tight over that left corner pocket, that would at least have given France something to think about. Mixrin's got the one difficult ball near the right centre. It's fairly tight to the jaw. Like an easy starter at least. That plant we talked about at the top of the table isn't quite set. It's pushing onto the left jaw. May just be able to squeeze it.
If it's not possible to squeeze it, and it looks like it is from the main camera, but we have the overhead in our commentary box and it doesn't look on, then you could have come a lot higher up the table and played the snooker just to pop them open and get welded behind them. So I think, to me, that tells me he's happy enough with it. It was quite a long way away from trying to move that red off the cushion.
Yeah, it's turned into a bit of a nothingy shot. That's not helped the position. Still got a ball on, but it just feels like he's just slipped out of prime position, starting to chase a little bit. The plant's going to be a reverse plant if he wants to make it. He's going to have to hit the left-hand side of the front one, even though you'd think instinctively it would be the right-hand side.
That made it easy. Squeezed it comfortably. Actually, that going makes the Reds a really good first chance for him as well.
He really wanted to move that ball that was near the right centre, because then it would have made it really comfortable. He's not loving the idea of having to play it down the rail. There's really no chances that would be an easy cannon into it, though.
I think you've just got to play onto it now, haven't you? Had an opportunity to play onto it there and has chosen not to. He's got an angle to play onto it again. Just take this long for me and just fall behind it. He's going into the centre, so is he going to try and move it? If this goes wrong, he's in trouble.
Feels like he's hoping that something's good's going to happen, that some miracle angle's going to present. He's actually got quite a good angle here. It's quite versatile in terms of he can get over to the right hand side.
He's had 2 or 3 chances to land on it and hasn't really tried to, and now he's having to take it up the table, which is a harder shot.
Unless he thinks he can chip it into the middle, but if he's playing for it long up the rail, that's a very missable shot.
Yeah, this doesn't go in the middle. I've been forward before, but this does not go in the middle. I'm really surprised by Babar's choices here, but this will be frame ball.
You can end up looking really silly with these shots. You can even hit the jaw in the middle pocket. Oh, that's a good bit of cueing though. It was always a bit wide of the cushion, but at a pace that it did still fall in.
I suspect he held his breath, his teammates held his breath. I certainly did. I didn't think that was going to fall. It was always on the jaw, and it just caught enough of it. It caught a lot of the jaw as well, but it has dropped in, and France have won 2 straight to get in front.
Clearance in the end. He looked completely comfortable as he was going about that. To be fair to him, he played every shot pretty well in the end, but just sort of felt like he was making life a bit hard.
Yeah, it's good to see some of the French ladies squad there supporting on. I think they'll have the full squad as the day goes on if they make it through. I think there's some other doubles matches and things happening at the moment, so they're not all there. And I thought one of the really nice things when France won the title a week ago was that they had the full squad. Every section that was in the place was there cheering them on, united as a full squad. And what made that even more amazing is that France were playing in the Euros and they were still there watching their team rather than watching France in the Euros. And yeah, great scenes. Great scenes when they won the World Championships as well in Morocco. Everyone there very vocal.
It's a big thing in team pool, having that support. You don't exactly get any points for it, but you kind of do, because it urges your team on and often makes them play better.
I think it makes more difference than people give it credit for.
Yeah, I agree. We've seen over the years a lot of very vocal teams at this World Championships and the World Team Shootout. Often they've done well. And the Irish always come to mind as a team that always turn up with very vocal support. I always feel they just play like a couple of frames better than their level on paper would be, just because of that team spirit.
There is room to land on this yellow for Superville. One next to the red, land on that one. And then straight enough just to track down for the gap. And you should be out. It looks like he's looking at pulling back as well. If he's straight enough to pull back, that will work just as well. Just get high of the line of three reds.
One of the most experienced French players, Cedric Superville. By no means his first rodeo. Team pool is very good practice. It puts you under a level of pressure that it's very hard to get in a singles match. And some people that are good at it do then go on to have good singles careers. Sets you up well. Close to that red than he wanted to, but could still get through to the bottom angle. This has been good stuff. A bit like Simon a couple of frames ago. Very measured performance there from Cedric Superville. Just did what he needed to do.
Yeah, they feel released, don't they? Feel as though just getting that lead and getting themselves in front has now just released them to play some better stuff like they did in the previous round against India.
We started out with 17 teams in this tournament, so to play a 16 match away from the TV cameras. It was obviously a big match because it's a big prize getting through to this finals day today. Get all the limelight in front of the cameras. It's nice to see the level of excitement. You can see some of these players coming into the arena, they just look happy to be there, excited to get their chance at the table.
Getting close to this halfway point in the match. I know it's a 14 frame match, but keep an eye on the match clock. 26 minutes as we get underway here in frame 5. Always a key frame, this one. 4-1, 3-2. Really important for Mauritius. Not the best of breaks in all honesty, but made a ball, but very tight.
Extension call.
On many levels you'd say it would be a culture shock coming over from Mauritius to an event held in Blackpool. Turns out the weather here is pretty hot today, so the hot, humid conditions at least won't be a surprise.
Yeah, I picked a bad day to wear a jacket. It's very hot, so very hot in the venue. A lot of people in the venue.
We say that slightly tongue-in-cheek. It is actually a factor. Being out in hot, humid conditions is not always ideal for a pool match, particularly when you're already feeling a bit of pressure. Just adds a few extra degrees.
Well, Hazar is going through these as though he's confident, but there is a big problem still to solve. It's going to be hard to... I mean, there's a couple of good options to play the breakout, but not easy to get there from where he is. Thinking about the yellow directly below the 8 ball. Use that to go into it. No, I tried to go into it there. Took his eye off the pot. Not sure if that line was quite available for him. The only thing is, it has left a tricky layout for France.
Yeah, that's why we always say if you're going to break a ball out, you're often better to do it early on. So if it does go wrong like that, at least you're not just handing the frame over guaranteed. Gap through to the first red, but still at least one ball tied up near the 8 ball in yellow.
It would go right centre once other reds are out the way. I mean, he's just looking at that now, but there's a lot to work to get there, and I'm not sure that's going to really pan out.
You always feel the pressure to go for a clearance in this kind of format, but this isn't a position where you necessarily love chasing after these. I think Mauritius are actually probably looking on, almost willing Jonathan to go after these.
So good. That deals with everything in one shot.
Great shot from Jonathan Rameau. Suddenly that's completely changed the complexion of the frame. France can now start dreaming about opening up a 3-frame lead.
Just overdone that one though. If you get straight and drop it in to leave straight, then you just track between the furthest red up the table and the 8 ball, and you're sort of, it's really, well, not easy because you've got to cue him in, but as good as it can be. Now he might end up with a bad angle, which he has.
Yeah, he was trying to hold that. He thought he could hit it just gently enough, but a bit too much adrenaline. Now he's got an angle where he can't just drop the ball in dead weight and leave a straight shot on the second red.
Natural line here is important. Is the natural line on and off the top cushion into the red, or is it going just to the side of the red? If it is, then you can just play it natural and then it's pace control. If he gets some spin on, just needs it to pull up. It's okay. Played that relatively well, but obviously just being a little bit further away adds to the tariff of this shot. If he gets the first shot after the breakout right, then he's half the distance here, and half the distance makes the shot almost unmissable.
Collective holding of breath in the arena as that ball tracked down towards the 8 ball.
And again, that half the distance means he's compromised position onto the 8 ball, although the 8 ball does have the big pocket, so it does. I mean, that's why I think why he rolled it, just to give himself every opportunity for that to fall. But if he was half the distance, he would have just stunned it in, and it would be a foot behind this 8 ball. This can be missed, even though it is a big pocket.
This would be a pressure shot if that yellow wasn't there. It makes it an awful lot easier having that available, but he has gone between cushion and yellow, and he hit that too hard. That looked a very nervy one.
I think he's played for the ball off the yellow rather than playing the pot, and there was just enough gap between them, and then he missed the yellow and kept the 8 ball on the table. I think that's one of those where you really use the yellow.
He's had something of a second prize. It left Mauritius with a semi-difficult opening shot.
Interesting, he's got the snooker. It's a very easy hit off one cushion, but not guaranteed to make it. And if he comes down the left-hand side and catches the 8 ball full and leaves the cue ball there, he's knocking the 8 ball away from the pocket, just making life a little bit easier for Jonathan. Sorry, for Azar. Doing the right thing for me, coming down the other side.
Yeah, slightly more difficult hit, but way more likely to pot the ball from this side. Not an easy enough hit though. That was quite a big target where the 8 ball is.
Yeah, because the second cushion still plays well for him. Bottom cushion and flick into it rather than straight would have still been okay, but he missed it by a long way.
So ball in hand, chance to get on probably the most difficult ball. The only other missable ball is the one on the right rail, but it's close enough to the pocket that shouldn't be an issue. This is all just a case of holding yourself together. There's no fundamental difficulty about any of these shots. If this was a singles match, this wouldn't be an issue, but you can see already, nervy one there, just needed to get into that ball a bit more. Draw the cue ball back towards the centre of the table. He's actually got himself into a bit of trouble here. This was not the place you expected him to fall out of position. This was one of the kind of nothingy shots. Oh, he's over. Well, hit that way too full. And Jonathan is going to be delighted to come back to the table here with a clear sight at this 8-ball.
It feels like one each in one of those frames, doesn't it, in the match now? The first one for Mauritius, now one for France. France have shown more quality in the other frames, but two very big frames that, well, should have been won multiple times both ways around. And France have a commanding lead all of a sudden.
That was a big let-off. Once he had ball in hand there, couldn't really see how he was going to fail. He certainly didn't expect a failure at that point in the clearance. And now for Mauritius, suddenly it feels like they're having to chase this game. Time also becoming a factor. Going to have to chase it quickly. We're near that shorter 15-second shot clock. Time wasn't really much of a factor in the first match because Malta was so dominant.
Yeah, difficult for Mauritius, and they send out Kevin Malaya, who's been struggling the most from their squad in the championship so far. Not playing his best stuff and hasn't won too many frames, so need a big performance here, and he's going to get a chance. Big moment here for Kevin. All the struggles in the championships will be forgotten if he finds the reverse finish here, and it is very much on. Just the two yellows together, it's a case of they do go, they have pockets. Can't quite tell from our camera angle which one's the best, but play on that first for me. If one goes in the middle, great. Does the left-hand one go in the middle? And then that would really be nice. Yeah, he's eyeing it up, so this is good. Not a big fan of that shot. I think he was trying to sort of punch it in to use the yellow he's next to go right centre and come down, and may have been leaving the yellow over the top left as his last ball. He doesn't need to leave it connected to the 8-ball because it's in the middle of the table, but if he wanted to clear the ones in the top first, then possibly get across the left-hand side, drop the yellow in top left, and then the one he's next to would then go left centre and come down.
Yeah, it was an odd shot, wasn't it? It just felt like he could have just rolled the previous one in and wouldn't have had a problem. Now he's slipped out of position. Suddenly having to travel around way more with the cue ball. If he could have just gone right centre with the ball to the left of the 8-ball, then it would all have been dot to dot without much travel involved.
Oh, that going long made a huge difference. He had a good plan all along. It was fine.
Good recovery shot. Not a shot he wanted to have to play, but cued it nicely.
Now it's fine here.
Back in prime position.
Make a case for playing the one he's nearest to and just stunning across the table. And then the one he's playing now, last ball. But you could go a few different ways around these. The only reason I didn't like the shot he's played was if you get a bad angle on this yellow, you've then got to get above the next one, and he's got that bad angle. The shot he played was absolutely fine if he got level with the yellow, because then he can just stun up. Now he's got no great way of getting there.
Yeah, sometimes you just need a plan B. If you're in prime position, obviously any clearance looks easy, but you've got to think what would happen if you did slip slightly out. If he takes that top one off the table, it's very hard to mess up the next two, whereas now he's got to play a real shot to get good position.
Good shot. He's off angle again. That was a good shot to get there.
Goes without saying, this is an important frame. 4-2 rather than 5-1. Coming up to the 15-minute mark. Two-thirds of the match time played already. That's a decent shot as well.
He's taken his time on this 8-ball. It's unmissable. Just get down and pot it. Use the, save yourself 10 seconds. That could become valuable. But it is a fabulous visit to the table. Kevin Malaya comes up big. He needed that. His team needed that, and he's delivered.
Just taking those few extra seconds to plan out the celebration.
Which he got right, you have to say. Marks out of 10 are pretty high.
Top class celebration, and it was a top class finish, to be fair. It wasn't a particularly difficult position, but there was just a moment early on where it looked like he was making it hard for himself. Had to come out with a recovery shot. Well, in the end though. Back in contention now, 4-2. Still anybody's game. But the fact that that match clock is ticking away means that every frame becomes very big, because if France can just get to 5, it's going to be a very long way back.
Well, back in that 3-frame or 1-frame mark, aren't we? That 4-3 or 5-2 would be huge with, let's say, just over 10 minutes left. But it is Mauritius with the break. Oh dear. That's hard. That is a tough one for Kevin Estilly.
Felt like he was optimising more for control than power. Didn't hit that particularly hard. I can't believe he's potted the cue ball bottom left, given where it started.
Yeah, the realisation as it hits him. It's a tough one. Decisions to be made out there then for Cedric Ruiz.
Ball in hand, so could have created an angle to play for something more expansive off the first ball, but decides just to tidy up at the top of the table. These top two were never going to be the difficulty. It's the balls in the middle of the table that need the work. Even though they're 4-2 up, this is actually a very big frame. This is effectively going to be the match, you would feel. If you can get it on the board, you're nearing 10 minutes left. It's going to be a very long way back for Mauritius. Obviously no particular rush for France. May as well take the full allocation of time at this point.
Yeah, it's in that interesting sort of time zone though, isn't it? 2 in front with, well, just under 13 minutes. If they were to lose the frame, they might want that time. They lose a couple of quick ones afterwards. They might be the ones. So I don't think, for me, this is even remotely time to think about slowing it down. Just try and win this frame, and then you can maybe manage the clock.
Yeah, I think right now that is what he's doing. I think a lot of the time he is just figuring out the route here.
Yeah, because it is tight, isn't it? A lot hinges on that red in the middle.
Yeah, he's fairly untroubled by the red in the middle, which looks like it might be the difficult one.
I don't think it's got a natural home, but he can play the red off the yellow, I think. But I don't think he can play it with pace, as in the other red that's sort of middle of the 3 in a line. Would that little nudge do the job? Okay, he's come to the other side of it to try and play into them, I think.
Does he think it goes long to the corner? He's gone about this in a way where he just seems very untroubled about that ball, which looks like it's in an awkward spot.
Yeah, it doesn't go anywhere. It's just completely tied up. Strangely, the only place it might go bottom right, but I'm not sure how you get there.
I mean, surely this isn't the first time he's looking at this.
If he gets down and just drops this in the middle, we've all been fooled, but it doesn't look even close.
I mean, it must go the way he's played this. Surely he can't just have played to leave a double like that.
I mean, that can't go, so it has to be the double. It is the double. And that's why he didn't care. It was easy for him. How about that? How calm are you?
Wow, Cedric Ruiz. Calm as a cucumber. I mean, really, that's a great double to have pulled out at that point. And what a great frame to win. 5-2 now.
Amazing. I mean, it's almost though he planned that from the very start. I am just going to work my way round to it and then slam in the big double. Huge moment for France.
And a tough one for Mauritius. He must have been looking on thinking that was potentially their lifeline in that frame, that last red. They're not over the line yet, but they're getting very close to it. 3-frame cushion, just over 10 minutes remaining.
Yeah, and it's that moment in the match. We have played 7 frames. It's where teams need to put up their order for the next 7 frames. Make changes, sub players in, move the order around. You can do what you like here. Really important for Mauritius just to come out and start to fly from here, because France can control it.
Going to see at least 2 frames played under the 15-second shot clock. It's always the entertaining moment, not so much for the players, but for the viewers. That's when the mistakes creep in. So France to break in this 8th frame. If they can make a ball off the break and spend a bit of time at the table, that's going to be a lot of the job done. And these have come out nicely. Ball down. The yellows split very well.
Victor Labar has the chance then to put France into the comfort zone in the 15 seconds a shot.
When you're playing to a 15-second shot clock, this is exactly the clearance you want, because there's not a whole lot to think about. It's not a complete formality, but the shots are fairly self-explanatory, so you should be able to play them fairly mechanically.
Yeah, you've got a decision to make. I don't know whether I'd move anything in the top half. I'd just leave the top to itself now. I'd play the plant bottom right, deal with those 3, because the yellow that he's got to the left of the cue ball now does go to the top corner. So if you don't get on it nicely, you drop it in the top corner. And worst case scenario, you're going to have a shot on the 8 ball in the middle. But ideally into the corner, he's just playing here. And he's chosen to get rid of that ball. My thinking was if he got to where he was there, you play that one to get on the 8 ball top left. It looks like he's going to use the one in the middle of the table to get onto the 8 ball.
This is the point we all see people caught out by the shot clock. It's when it's just started, that transition from 30 to 15 seconds. And now he's realised basically what it means is once you commit to a shot, you've just got to go with it. You can't afford to change your mind and be getting back up again. As a result of the time pressure, he's just slightly overhit that. Just needs to give that a bit more thought. It was much better to end up low on this ball. He's finished a little straighter than he wanted. So having to commit to taking it long now, just couldn't get a good position on it into the left centre.
This is why I'd left the yellow at the top of the table, because if he got even to here, all he'd have to do is drop the ball in and he'd still have a nice ball to get on the 8 ball. Now he's got to play a good cue ball as well. See how he had to force it because of that? If he leaves the other yellow in the top half of the table, which would have been easy for him to do, he's just floating it in.
Now this is perfect for Mauritius. Just one ball on a cushion, everything else in the middle of the table. The only difficult ball that was next to the 8 ball to be knocked out. Could have made a case for playing down for the ball on the right rail straight away. He had a good angle to do it there. He's got plenty of other balls to come back though. Forced to play quickly, but in a way that may not be the worst thing. When you're under a bit of scoreboard pressure, sometimes not having time to dwell on it helps. You've just got to get down and play the shots in front of you.
Flowing along here.
This is the only missable shot in the visit, and he's landed close enough to it that it shouldn't be missable. Very nicely taken. This wasn't a difficult clearance by any means, but they are 5-2 down. And suddenly, the 3-frame lead with the clock running down isn't quite so big anymore, because 2 frames and 7 minutes remaining. Plenty of time for Mauritius to get back into it.
Kardin Sarali makes it 2 from 2 for himself. He has 2 of the 3 frames for Mauritius. That one very different to the opening frame of the match though. He took it out in his first visit. And I'm with you. They have the next break. A break clearance would make things interesting. A golden break would make things very interesting.
Yeah, we haven't seen any of those so far today. Pot the 8 ball off the break, you win the frame. As long as you don't pot the white. If you pot the white as well, it's a golden duck.
Here's Salman Jafou comes out for Mauritius. He'll have the break. Cedric Soubeville for France, hoping to get to the table, and with a 2-frame advantage can then make decisions on controlling the match, controlling the pace. If they're there, you'd take them. But that's all if he gets to the table. And he is cut breaking here, and it's a narrow cut break. This often gets the 8 ball in motion. And it does again. Excellent break. I'll tell you what, if this red goes through the gap, then reds would be pretty quick here. A red to bottom left. I think he might have a good starter on yellows. Yeah, he does have a good starter on yellows. Yellows aren't bad, although that's not a good first shot. I think I preferred the yellows just if he could have played a better first shot, but there wasn't much in it. Just felt a little bit rushed. I know it's 15 seconds a shot, but some players can play at 15 seconds a shot and not look rushed. Someone there definitely was.
Yeah, and that felt like the kind of shot he didn't really want to have to take on. It was a shot that under no pressure he'd probably have got with no trouble. Just a bit more difficult. Cedric Soubeville for France looks very measured in his first frame. A vastly experienced player, seemed to be playing well within himself the last time we saw him at the table.
No, that wasn't a particularly well measured shot. And he used his extension on that one as well. And therefore it is 15 a shot from here on in. So he's got to make a decision.
It's about the time foul. He's going to get down and play this.
I would say, I mean, France played so well against India that it never really became a factor, but I would say that the 15 seconds a shot notoriously wouldn't favour France. The sort of natural pace of play for the majority of French players is slightly on the slower side.
Yeah, Yannick Beaufils, one of the greatest ever French exports, but a very measured player. Back in the days we used to play with a 60-second shot clock. Warning at 30 seconds, you'd never see him play a shot before the 30 seconds had been called.
I don't think he's alone. I think that's just a kind of, watch quite a bit of French ball, and it is like that across the board, really.
Yeah, it's just the way they play. Yannick's a great player. Christophe Lambert, also another great French player, plays at a fairly measured pace at times. Although we've seen with a lot of the French players when they've had to play with the shot clock, in many ways it's made them look better players. They've had to just embrace it.
Saw Cedric there, just had a quick look about the red in right centre. I think it's fine. I think it does drop in. No need to move it or do anything, just drop it in and should be good.
So So the second chance he's maybe been a bit fortunate to have, because he slipped out of position very early on in his last attempt at this clearance. Can't imagine him making the same mistake again. This is the kind of thing you can't really do with a 15-second shot clock. It's wandering around the table looking at the line of a shot. You get yourself a bit rushed if you do that. Would have been easier if he'd finished on the left-hand side of the table, could just have screwed across the face of the 8-ball. He's going to have to play with a bit of spin off the cushion now to get that result. Well though.
Just about for the match, this one. 3 frames in 3.5 minutes is what Mauritius would need. It is doable. I've seen it before, but it's unlikely. France have half a foot now in the semi-finals in a matchup with Malta.
More understated celebrations this time from France. I think they know that they're close to getting the job done. It's almost a nervous anticipation, just waiting for those last few minutes.
I think they played really well. I know there's been some mistakes. You're never going to see perfect ball in this format. I mean, they did nearly play perfectly in their last round. We talked about that quite in depth, but they've been very good. And the man at the table now, Simon Pellissier, I think the calm nature, the frame he played at 1-0 down after, and it's only 1-0, let's not get too carried away, but it was a 9-minute scratchy, horrible frame that they lost. And Simon just came out and played the perfect frame. It wasn't a break clearance, it won't go down in the books as a break clearance, but it was so measured. Great tactical shot, and then made such a simple clearance.
Yeah, I agree. It may seem strange to call that out as the highlight of the match. That would have been a different highlight had that 8-ball gone down.
So close. I thought he was in. Bang. His eyes are fixed on it. No doubt he knew what was going on.
Big difference, because it was a dry break otherwise.
And this is where Simon just needs to keep doing the right things, do what he did in the previous frame in terms of calm and composed. Do not take a finish on here, just keep making it horrible. Well, he is going to take a finish on.
I suppose it's a different way of achieving the same thing, because he can use up a minute and a half by just going about the loose yellows, even if he doesn't get nicely onto the 8-ball.
Even then, for me, if he uses up a minute and a half and then doesn't take the 8-ball, leaves a really simple counter clearance that takes 45 seconds, and then the next frame's a golden break, all of a sudden you've got 45 seconds of panic at the end. Whereas if he just doesn't pop balls here, turns the table over, makes a mess, Mauritius aren't going to make a clearance the way these balls are lined up. It would be a miracle finish.
Well, you've got a plan for the 8-ball. I mean, he's obviously going to try and get it out, but I think the key thing, if you're going to adopt this tactic, is just to spend a bit of time at the table.
Well, now turn it over. Made it even worse on reds. Best of both worlds. You've used up a minute and you can turn the table over and leave it messy. I think he's still playing the plant here. Oh, he's got the gap.
Well, he hands it over, but now we're in last chance to lean for Mauritius. Just over 1.5 minutes remaining. Got to find a way of winning 3 frames. Can't really afford to play a safety shot. Well, that's a good start. That's the shot he needed to open the frame up.
Not sure if the red passes the 8-ball here. Oh, if it pulls. Oh, my word. What a shot that is. That's absolutely magic.
Needs to make this ball down the rail. This is the difficult one. Oh, he's hit it well.
Oh, this is incredible. This will be finish of the day by a mile. That'll do.
He's needed a few nudges.
That will do.
Oh, he's gone for the double. I thought he was going to cut that in the middle.
What a shame. What a shame. This shot here. I'm not sure he was playing for this ball into the centre pocket, but it landed nicely enough.
I can't believe he's missed the 8 ball after all of that.
No, I can't. But that will be that in the match. There is no way back from here now. It was a tall order anyway. You'd had to have made that 8 ball, then have a golden break, and then probably break the world record for the fastest ever reverse clearance. But it is going to be game, set and match for France here. If it makes the 8 ball, we will see another break. And we won't, because he has missed it. It won't matter for Simon Pellissier and France. It is job done. The man there was a huge part of the reason why France were able to turn that one around and get off to a really solid match. They are into the semi-finals. They have a matchup with Malta tonight. Mauritius bow out, and it is France that go through.